Hello and welcome everyone to another podcast here for the Women's MTB Network. Today I am super excited because we have one of the founders of the Fire Enduro team. These women that ride for this team, first of all, they're in the under 19 category. They race against professionals and all these boys in this intimidating fashion. I couldn't do what they do, honestly. I'm in awe of how these people put this together. Shelly is one of the founders and organizers of the team. And I want to bring her on to talk to you all about how they started this enduro team, the racing team, how they support their goals, and not just the goals that are on the team. They've now expanded their mission in 2023 to offer support to anyone who doesn't see themselves represented on race day, which is super important. It's really important to be inclusive. I keep saying important a lot just because I'm excited. So I'm going to bring Shelly up to talk to y'all. Let's see. Hey, Shelly, how are you?
Hi, Mia. Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I'm sorry. Did I pronounce everything right? Is it
Yeah.
the Fire team? Is that how you
Mhm.
guys pronounce it? Fire
Yep.
MTB?
Yep. A lot of people don't
I'm,
see that one in there. There's a one in there. So,
yeah,
yeah, because Females First Racing Enduro is the, and the girls came up with that. So that
that's
was,
so cool.
yeah. Yep.
Females First Racing Enduro team. You heard it here first. You guys are going to hear all about these amazing girls and what they're doing. So, Shelly, tell us, how did you guys start this and when? It was in 2020, right? That you had this idea to put the team together?
Yep. Yeah, so it kind of came together in an effort a very selfish effort to help my daughter because I've got two kids, and at the time they were 13 and 14, and the 13-year-old was begging to race enduro, and I was like, okay, fine, like I guess we can try one race. and and I went to, and we're not from really the mountain bike community, we're not racers or whatever, but I get on to bike reg, and I see, U13 men, U19 men, 20, 21 to 30 men, 31 to 40 men, like all these men's categories. And then I see
Yeah.
amateur women and pro women. And I'm like, well, she's 13. She's not an amateur woman. Like that's the category I'm going to put myself into. And I know she doesn't want to race with me. So I put her in the U15 men category. And then I think the fact that I was so new was good because, like, if I was familiar with the bike community, I probably would have been like, oh, this doesn't look fun. Like, let's not even attempt it. But in my naivete, I thought that they were going to somehow magically separate out the girls. Like, I don't know how, but like, and that's so stupid now to say it.
No, I
But
mean, I would have thought the same.
yeah, like it didn't even, I couldn't even consider that they didn't have a category. So like I signed her up, and then like on race day, I'm realizing that like, wow, there really are not any girls here. Like there's 200 athletes, and it would appear that there's like maybe one other girl. Like it's just
Oh,
struck me
wow.
as very strange. And so, and I still thought that they were going to do a podium. Like I still thought they were going to somehow magically pull out, these two girls who showed up and put them on a podium. And of course they
Yeah.
didn't. And so at the end, the guy, oh, and I had sent an email to the organizer because I was still confused. Like before the race, I'm like, I'm really confused. I don't understand what you're doing with the girls. Like what category am I supposed to put her in? And
Yeah.
nobody got back, like nothing. There was no answer one way or the other.
That doesn't
So
surprise me.
yeah, so after the podiums, I go up to the guy who's apparently running the show, and I was like, "Hey, so when are you gonna do the girls' podiums?" And he's like, "There's no girls' podiums." And I was like, "Oh," and he's like, "Yeah, girls don't race enduro." And
No.
and I was so dumbfounded that like I didn't even have the wherewithal.
Girls?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
had no comeback. I couldn't even say like, "Excuse me, sir, like there's two of them. They just did race enduro." You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
didn't even have that. I had nothing. So I just was like, "Okay." And then I left. And then in the car ride on the way home, I was like kind of fishing around, like, to see how the kids liked it, because I was almost hoping that they didn't like it. Because if they didn't like it, then I really didn't need to go back into that environment. But they both loved it, of course. And
Yeah.
but I was still like really confused as to how this was a sport without a girls category.
Yeah.
So I reached
Yeah.
out to the only other communication venue, is a Facebook group that the series has, where they post like their information and stuff. And so I posted in there, and I was like, what am I missing? Like we just did an
Yeah.
enduro race. We've done your cross country series, which is lovely. Like there's, plenty of girls categories over there. And we just did this enduro race, and I was stunned that there was no girls categories. And then I was further stunned to be told that the girls don't actually race enduro. So like, what am I missing?
And this is in Eastern Pennsylvania,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Right. Which is
Okay.
interesting too, because I mean, like I know in other parts of the country, enduro is like off the charts popular, but in the mid-Atlantic, which is like Pennsylvania, Maryland, we go up into New York, New Jersey, it's just really, really slow to diversify, super slow. So long story short, there was a Facebook conversation with lots of other parents, turns out, who'd had similar kind of experiences. They were like, I was thinking of signing up my daughter, but I was really confused, so I didn't bother. And then the mother of the other girl, she reached out to me and she was like, yeah, my daughter loves this. And if maybe we should get the girls together to ride. And so that's how that started. That was Sarah. So Julia and
That's
Sarah,
awesome.
yeah, they started riding together, and we both sort of were like, hey, let's try to get some more of your friends to come, because wouldn't it be more fun, if there was more than just the two of you? And so that's kind of what we did that very first year. And we were asking for a girls category and we got every reason possible. It was, it's a big day. You did an enduro that's lift assisted, and most of our other enduros you have to pedal, and so we don't want the girls to get tired, and we don't want them to get lost, and we don't want them to get hurt.
Because we're so incompetent and stupid with our little brains. I'm sorry. Now I'm getting fired up.
So it was all these crazy things that was just like, it made no sense. And then finally the last excuse was, well, in theory, like even if we were to add a category, it's going to be expensive. And so we'll consider this in the off season, but we really can't consider adding a category midway into the season. And then some random woman who had like seen some of this happening in this Facebook group, she was like, I'm a race promoter, and if you're willing to start the category, I'm willing to fund it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So she's like, but I don't want you to just open up one race. I want you to finish the series. Like there's 4 races left. So do it for all 4. I'll pay for the prize, whatever the cost is, I'll fund it. And so she did. Do you want to guess what it cost?
$500?
$75.
No way.
Yeah. So like, that's the kind of thing where like, sometimes when I get aggravated, it's because of things like this. Like, it's utterly absurd. Like
it's utterly absurd. And it goes back to the argument people were having recently with Rampage, where people think you're trying to take something from them when you're not. Right. It's literally just the same opportunity.
Yeah.
That's all we want in life is to be treated equally.
Well, and in our case too, like this particular series, they don't even sell out. So we're not even taking spots away from some guy. Like if they've got the 200 registration maximum, they rarely sell out. So we would only be helping them come close to their selling out point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they usually do like 160, 180. And if you were to open up a girls category and bring in, I don't know, 10, 20 girls, then, ooh, yay, you just sold out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not even 100% not taking anything away from anybody. It's just a different way of doing things. And I think people have like a very, like, they feel the need to protect and keep us safe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so.
I don't know. I don't think it's so much keeping safe as they just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, my experience has just been like, well, we just don't want to deal with it. Like I've heard that a lot recently from women in the industry that have been in the industry for 20 plus years. There are huge brands at the moment just being like, is it really worth it because it's still dollars and cents to them,
Right. Well, we do ride differently. So, I mean, like an enduro has this, like the spirit of enduro, like they view themselves as like this incredibly hardcore, like, send it bro kind of thing. And I mean, we're perfectly capable, but we do ride somewhat differently. And so that's that, for better, for worse, it's just different. I think it's better. I think anytime you can bring more different types of ways to make something happen, it's going to be more interesting. It's going to be more fun. It's going to be better.
There should never just be one way to do something.
Yeah.
Like let someone else be an innovator too. So on your website, your guys' website, I was reading that, when the women were basically outnumbered 100 to 1 on race day for the most part.
Yeah.
Has that changed in the last few years since you
Yes.
guys have started this journey? So talk a
Yeah.
little bit about the change that you've seen.
So we we asked the girls, at the end of this first season, if you want to do this, let's go ahead and make a team because we need to find a way to offer more support. And that to us, that
Right.
felt like a tent on race day, because something as simple as having a place to go and hang out, because like these venues, like they can be just a little intimidating. You're in a parking lot and like some people have camped out and like it's just, people look like they're living there, and then you roll in and you're the only one with a ponytail. So like we wanted to have a tent, and we wanted to offer pre-rides. And so
Nice.
we got really active on social media in terms of like offering up pre-rides, basically. I mean, that's like probably, I would say, one of the biggest things you can do to get more girls and women out is to just invite them out and give them a chance to experience the terrain, because people think that these races are, crazy technical, and
Right.
they're not. I mean, like if you have an enduro race in Pennsylvania, you're riding in the woods with your friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's yeah, sure, it's going to be more technical than a cross country race here, but it's still Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? So like, I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the stuff they're doing on the weekends with their buddies is the same as what they're going to be doing at an enduro race. Just the
Right.
format is slightly different. So
Yeah.
we try really hard to kind of like, I'm in a bunch of different, women's mountain bike groups, anything where like, you can kind of like get more active in the community and try to like bring people in, is helpful. And so like, yeah, our team started with, I think 5 girls. And then the next year we had 11. And then this year we had, I think like 12 or 13 junior girls and 11 or 12 adult women.
That's
So like,
amazing. Are they all from your area? Are they like from Pennsylvania, or do they come from
yeah,
different states?
I mean, that's the tricky part. Like, I would love to have like, a group in, Maryland. But what we do, like, I put all the dates on the calendar, and we have rides from April through November,
Mhm.
and we make sure that we pre-ride. We go to all the different, like Mass has 7 races in their series, so we
Okay.
get to all 7 of those locations at least once prior to the race weekend. And then we also go to, like, there's a race in the Frederick watershed that everybody likes. Like there's a couple of races, and so like the ones who show up the most often are the ones who are geographically closer to the core group of people, only because
Yeah.
like, most of our kind of practice rides are within like an hour and a half of like where
Mhm.
I live and where the other girls
Mhm.
live. And then we do have other ones who come from quite a distance, but they don't come quite as often. So like I would love to see like Courtney, and she and I are talking about this. I would love to see Courtney like have like a satellite group in her area. And so then she can lead the rides and like get the group ready for, the races and stuff. And then we go together. I mean, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
different ways to do it. Um, but because we're working with juniors, I got some good advice in the very beginning from a guy named Harlan who runs Taking Cycling, which is
Yeah.
a really well-known company in our area.
Mhm.
He's the coach who runs all the stuff at Bryce Bike Park.
Yeah.
And he said, you got to get insurance. You got to do, like he gave me like a couple of really good administrative type things to
Yeah.
do. And I'm a stickler for that because I just don't want anybody getting hurt. Like that's the other thing I'm really
Yeah.
proud of is we've had a really excellent injury record. So yeah, sorry, I kind of lost the original question, but yeah,
No. You talked about the progression of seeing, like, you did talk about it, the growth of the people that have applied, the women that are there, the juniors that come on board, and your goal for the future, which I think is amazing, wanting to expand this to different states. We should definitely figure out how we can help you in the network to do that as well, because we have Becca over on the East Coast that's involved with a lot of that stuff, and I know she would love to be involved with that too. So we should find a way to get to how us as a network can help.
yeah,
Um, and I know that the crew over at Worldwide Cyclery is a big sponsor of you guys, and they're
yes.
like 5 minutes from my house. I love the crew at
Oh
Worldwide
yeah,
Cyclery.
yeah.
They're super cool dudes. But so how many do you have signed up for this season? How many under 19 juniors do you have signed up for this season?
Well, we just wrapped up the season and I haven't started to recruit yet
Oh,
for
that's right.
next season. Yeah, that's okay. So, but we finished the season with, I think, 12 girls. The reason it's like kind of a little up and down is because like one went off to college, so she's kind of not really on the team anymore. You know what I mean? So like it's roughly 12 U19 girls and non-binary kids. And then same for the adult women, roughly the same number.
That's so good. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, I'm going to share real quick here. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see the their website, and it talks about their mission and everything that they go into. But one of the things I loved is I was reading this here. You swept 4 podiums in 22 and won first place team trophies at Mass, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You sent 8 athletes to 12 races in 2021 of a total of 54 race like the just for such a short amount of time, what y'all have been accomplishing is amazing.
And that growth has actually been exponential. I think this year we did like almost 100 race registrations.
Wow.
And we swept another 4 or 5 podiums, and we won that series team title again, which was really tough because, you know, the first year was almost a fluke and nobody paid any attention to us, I think.
Yeah.
And so then when we won and we beat like some really long standing teams, suddenly we were like, hey, wait a second. You know what I mean? And then like,
but it's a sign of the talent, and you know, the talent is there. These girls are amazing and they want to race and they love it. I love this photo back here of their butts all dirty. This thing's that's like, you know, when you know you're having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
When that happens. And I specifically also really love the statement about gender that you have all here. You're welcoming to everyone, whether you identify as transgender, intersex, non-binary. Like, I love this so much because the inclusiveness is really what's important in this community as well. Not just in this community, everywhere, really. And look at the photo of everyone on. This is so cool. I want to get one of your jerseys. We need to find out how I can get one of your jerseys.
I actually have a spare. I was going through all my stuff, so I can make that happen.
Do you? Yeah. Let me know. I'll Venmo you. You send it to me. We'll get that going. So that's really amazing. We were talking a little earlier today about what we were some of the questions I was going to talk about, and you hit on everything. We talked a little bit about the gender disparity within the sport, but the positive is that it is growing, and I think it's this generation that's going to take it to the next level. Do you find that the girls get any kind of discrimination or any kind of like pushback when they show up on race day?
No, I mean, actually right now, the first year we were almost like celebrities, like, and it wasn't really the racers. Like the racers, I don't think they really knew what to do with us. Like I think they were just curious, but it was the moms and the girlfriends and the daughters, like the spectators who were blown away. Yeah,
that's
absolutely
awesome.
I mean, like we could have been signing autographs. They were so like it's gonna sound like I'm making this up, but the first year, the one that I told you when they made that series, they opened the category for us. When Julia and Sarah were going up to get their series trophies, a mom said to her daughter, she was like, oh, do you see that? They've got a category for you. You can do this. I know, right? I mean, it sounds like
I got the chills right now.
Right? Yeah. So like it was that sort of thing. And it was like, and then when we're racing, like I think that there's, I don't know why, but women, and they just like, they're like, oh, that's his thing. Like that's, you know, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna cheer him on, but whatever, that's his thing. And they don't even attempt, they don't even consider that they might be out there racing enduro. Do you know what I mean? Like they might be.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts. But the girls and the women who see us at races and stuff, they're like, oh, it's so cool. I wish there was something like that for me. And we're like, that was one of the reasons why we were like, you know, we should open this up to women. Cause like the juniors who were there for their brother or their whoever, like, they're just like, oh, kill me now. Like, you know what I mean? Cause they're spectating for their sibling and they're kind of out of it. But the adult women were really, really excited to see us. So that was why we opened the women's team. But the girls have had a couple of unfortunate interactions on trail where like they'll get hit on, you know what I mean? Like those guys will be inappropriate, and like I don't even, I find it very frustrating. And one of them, one of the girls actually made a documentary, and I saw, the reason I know this is because I watched her documentary, and one of our girls was like, we're just here. She's like, we're not here to find a boyfriend. We're here to get it done. We're here to do our job. And I was like, it like made my heart swell, because I was like, yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
But to hear her articulate that, I mean, like I was kind of sad that they were receiving the same kind of treatment that, I've received. I kind of think that like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if the world was different? But, they have each other. So that's good. They have the support of the team. So they're never out there alone. And that's another interesting thing, that like some race organizers have been more flexible and more accommodating than others, because like there's a series that I won't mention their name because it'll really send me off, but they have like a really prestigious series, and one of our racers last year wanted to go, and they were traveling and they wanted to possibly race in one of their races, but they weren't with the team. It was they were traveling on their own with their dad. And so their dad contacted them and was like, hey, would you mind if I pre-ride with her on Saturday? Because we're not from the area. We don't have any friends. I don't like the idea of sending her out with 200 other athletes, knowing that 90% of them are dudes. And the guy was like, absolutely not. No way. Only, only registered racers are on course the day before the race. And so he was like, all right, I don't plan to race, but I would, do you have like a race plate that I can buy to accompany her? And at that, they were like, nope, if she can't handle it on her own, she has no business racing it. And like, they couldn't even imagine that this had less to do with her skill and less to do with her ability to ride the terrain, and more to do with a parent's discomfort with sending his teenage daughter into the woods with a bunch of guys.
It's a safety issue. And that's what a lot, and again, unless there's an education or a different perspective shown to these people, they're not going to get it.
Right.
We need to do more of this. We need to do more of this in a platform and explain to people why. And I loved going back to what you're saying, one of your racers, where she articulated, we're just here to race. We're athletes, just like you. That's another thing that's missing, I think, across a lot of sports, where some guys or boys don't understand that they want to be respected just like everyone else. It's the same thing. Gender's not.
And the vast majority of them are great. And so then like they kind of judge everyone on, well, I'm a great guy, I would never do that. Like you're being, over the top, or you're being a little ridiculous, or sure. But it only takes one time. You know what I mean? And especially for a young teenage girl.
And they also don't take into consideration that some girls could have experienced some type of trauma or something that doesn't make them uncomfortable. So that's another element that they don't see. But I think it's good to educate, right? And always bring that up to them and have them seeing from a different perspective. I'm so incredibly excited that y'all are doing this. And oh my God, I want to come over there and support. I want to be on the side with like a banner, and be like, they're
I would get you into the race course. I would. I have a feeling that you're just like, everybody else out. You're just like me. Like I was just like, I have no business racing this, but I am also not a great spectator. So I would just as soon put on a race plate. You know what I mean? Like rather than yeah, you totally could.
I want to do an enduro race. I built a bike for it. And I think I might do Sea Otter next year. They have like a total entry level category, and it's for me, it's for no one else. I just want to experience being out there and doing these amazing things.
It's so much fun. Like that's the other thing. Like sometimes I think about like, why are we doing this? Because like it's kind of a lot of work. It's a lot of frustration, but it is so much fun. Like biking, first of all, biking is just the best sport ever. And then if you're going to bike, enduro, I think, in my opinion, is the most fun ever. And it's the fastest way to make progression. Like I ride terrain that when we started, I was just like, nope, never. I'm perfectly fine with always hopping off and walking that. You know what I mean? Like I just was just like, nope, I'm too old. I'm too this, I'm too that. I don't need to, like, everything was just like, and I was fine with it. But then like here's the value of the girls team again. Like when you see these youngsters, you know, figuring it out and making it look easy, and new people coming on board, and like, you know, when you have the time to spend on a feature in the woods without a pack of guys like around you or in front of you, beside you, whatever, like just like crowding your space, suddenly, you know, the progress is just like, it's there. And then also like, okay, so why not just go into the woods and session these things? Even with all that, like there's still stuff where I'm like, oh, I guess this isn't just my year for that feature. But then on race day, for whatever reason, like you're in the flow, or there's a person standing there and you're like, God damn it, I'm not going to let them see me walk. You know? And then you do it and you're like, you're so thrilled. It's the best feeling ever. So
it really
that's why
is.
I love it. And I just want everybody to love it. Like I want all these girls and women to like feel like this much fun and this much confidence and to enjoy it so much, you know, because it's great. I love it.
And there's so many women, I don't want to say later in life, because I'm in my 40s, that are like, oh, can I do this? And then they do it and they're like, hell yeah, I can do this. And you got the next like 30 years of riding ahead of you. Like one of my best friends, she's 62 years old and she's killing it on a mountain bike right now. She didn't think she could do it. She came from a road cycling background. She got an e-bike, which was pretty heavy for her because she's 5 foot. So we hooked her up with a lighter e-bike and she's having the time of her life. And I'm like, I told you, you know, it's just that little bit of confidence, and you need a cheerleader and someone to be like, you could do it, just roll it. The second you realize you can do it, like it's game over. And that's the fun thing that you're saying about biking. Anyone can do it, regardless of age. Anyone can do it.
Totally.
So for the next season, when does the season start? 2024?
Officially it'll start in April, but in the off season, we'll probably schedule a few try it rides. So we'll set up, you know, at a couple of the locations that are like kind of more entry level enduro races. We'll host, and we'll open it up, you know, and we'll to non-teammates and whatnot. But the point will be to like come and try it and see if you like it and meet the girls and, you know, like get a feel for the gear and, you know, all that, answer your questions and all that stuff. No, you know, no obligation, and just come and ride it. And if you like it, then we hope that they'll join. So
that's so cool. You do that.
Yeah.
So, and is that information, where can people find that? Is that on your website, social media? Like, what's the best way to find that info?
Yeah. I mean, like, Instagram is probably the best, because when we do an event, like I will put it on our grid and in stories. The website, it's a little too cumbersome. I mean, I probably should. That's what I should do this year. This year I should do a better job of posting everything there. However, I will also say that, like, I hate to say this, but I kind of feel like the need to protect the kids too. So like if I were to put our entire calendar on the website, some small part of me would worry about some weirdos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Especially because there's some of them are minors.
Yes, exactly. So, but I'll put it on Instagram.
This is cool. So I'm showing y'all, if you're watching on YouTube, their Instagram, and this was their Halloween. Oh,
that was last year.
Awesome. Yeah, it was last year.
And the fun part too with social media is the girls, they do most of the edits. And I'll, like, if there's something that really needs to go out there, then I'll be the one to do it. But usually when we've got some sort of fun shred it after a ride or a race, they'll put it together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Here's a interview you guys did for Bicycling Magazine last year, which is just absolutely amazing, giving some more representation to what y'all are doing, bringing girls into the scene. If you guys haven't seen it, go to their YouTube. I have it right now, but I am going to put not YouTube, I'm sorry, Instagram. I am going to put all this information in the podcast and in the YouTube videos so that you guys can follow along. But okay, so Instagram's the best way to do it. So great. Best way to reach out. Do you have any tips for someone around the country that is listening to, around the world really, that's listening to this and want to start a mountain biking team, not just an enduro? Like, what tips do you have for people who want to do that?
I mean, I guess it depends on whether or not you're dealing with juniors. I think if you're not dealing with juniors, you might be able to be a little bit more loosey-goosey. Tips.
Like, what was something that you found was challenging when you started? Let's say it's juniors. Let's say, another
Yeah.
parent is listening, because I have quite a few parents reach out. They're like, how can I do this for my kid? Like, what
Yeah.
advice would you give that parent?
I think that it's important if it's going to be like, I'll just speak to racing because
Yeah.
that's what we do. I think it's important to get information about the venues, because that's the thing that's hardest to get. And it's much worse with enduro. Like cross country, like you can reach out to a race organizer and say like, hey, what's the map for, this location, and they'll give it to you. Or you can find
Yeah.
it on Strava, or you know what I mean? Like the information
Yeah.
is out there. It's readily available. Anybody can go pre-ride it. Whereas enduro is like, oh, we're not gonna let you have that.
Why
Yeah.
is that?
I don't know.
You
I think
know?
it's just one of those things that like, back in the day it was super rad to like keep it a secret until the week of the race. And then, yeah. So that's tricky because then the way these places are the way the geography is, like you could set stages up in any number of different ways. So like, it does kind of matter a little bit to be able to see what the stages are going to be and how they're going to be taped.
Mhm.
So either find yourself a friend who knows who's competed in some of those races, or reach out to the organizer and see if they will share some of that with you. Sometimes the people that run the races are more than happy to do a pre-ride, especially if you position it as like, I want to try to bring more girls out. I want to try to bring more juniors out, whatever your
Right.
group is. Some of them will say, nope, no thanks. You'll get it when, the day before the race, just like everybody else. But just getting access to someone who knows the terrain and can let you ride it is key, because then
Yeah.
that sort of demystifies it. And then you're like,
Right.
oh, that wasn't so bad. That was actually a lot of fun. Like I could totally see myself doing this. And then just like, we use Team Snap. So it's an app that you have a calendar and you put all the events in the calendar, and then you can put in your location so you know exactly which trailhead to meet up at and all that stuff. So like
Mhm. Mhm.
just like make a calendar, put all your events in, and then have somebody who's able to lead the rides, sweep the rides. I don't know. I can't believe we've figured it out the way we did, because it's really
That's
been running really well. And I think part of the problem, like sometimes when I talk to somebody about possibly opening up a satellite thing, when I start going off on like what we do to make it happen, they're like, I don't think I have time for that.
Oh, really? Because they think it's
So,
too time consuming, too cumbersome?
well, yeah, I mean, like it's basically a calendar, and then, going and riding the stages. Um, but there's a little bit that goes into making sure that the people turn out and you have an appropriate ride leader, an appropriate sweep. You know what I mean? Otherwise it just turns into a group ride, um, that can be confusing. So,
I mean, I think it's also something that's gonna take time to get used to. I mean, I have 2 godkids and they play soccer, and it's always like, who's gonna coach that day? So it's
right.
kinda like that's kinda what I'm equating to, is that there's already such organized sports somewhere that it's easier to get something.
Oh,
So I
for
think this is
sure.
something it's getting there, right? It's
Yeah.
something that
And
is
it's
getting
weather
there.
dependent to an extent.
Oh, yeah.
We've had things get rained out that are really, really frustrating. Like especially because we do some professional skills coaching with the girls too. And
Yeah.
we're okay to race in the rain. Like some of us really kind of enjoy it. But when you've paid a skills coach to come and work with you, like that's no fun in the rain. So like
Yeah.
that's a bummer when that happens.
Especially
Um,
because you gotta stop and session and listen
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you're not
And you're
just
not moving as
blasting
much.
through rain.
Yeah, you're not moving as much as you are when you're racing, because there's a little bit of standing around and stuff. But
Yeah. So do you foresee this? I know we've talked about a little bit how you want to expand, but do you have the capacity to bring in 30 or so under the
yeah.
team? Like, do you have that capacity?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I have to look into is like we pay for insurance for, I don't know, it's like 35 people or something. And if I want to
Mhm.
bring in, 10 more people, my insurance goes up, which is fine because we have some sponsorship and we pay dues. It's not a lot, but we have the money to do that. I just don't want to pay for it and then not have people show up. You know what I mean? So it's just like trying
Right.
to kind of like gauge it so that I get like a realistic grasp on how. But yeah, for sure, that's the plan. that would be great.
And if people want to sponsor you guys, how do we do that? How do we
Um,
do that?
you can DM us on Instagram. I think there's a form on our website that people have filled out. And we basically like $500 cash will get your logo on our jersey. And the money goes to running the team, like the logistics and stuff and the insurance and that kind of thing. And then last year we were able to get enough sponsorship money that we were able to offset the cost of the skills training with our coach.
Oh,
So
that's so good.
yeah, so our teammates didn't have to pay anything. And she's a pro, Hillary, from Hills MTB Skills. She's excellent. She's really well known in our area. So
That's awesome.
that was really good. We were able to work with her 3 times and everybody was able to come, who was able to make it. And then we also were able to do some needs-based scholarships to some women's weekends. So that's kind of what our money goes to. Like, I'd love to save up for some, like, like everybody's always like, you need to get a shuttle rig and a trailer. And I'm like, yeah, I sure do. But like, we're just using the money to pay the bills and to pay for skills coaching and stuff.
So if y'all listening, sponsorship, this is a super important cause. It's a really important team. It's the next generation of goals and women who are coming up later in the game who may have kids and daughters down the line and want to bring them into a team. So reach out to the Instagram. I am, again, going to put all the information so you guys can reach out to Shelly. Are you the one that mainly does the Instagram account?
Usually, yeah. You might remind them, like the girls are also in there. So like I have to go through the DMs to make sure I didn't miss something, because like they'll get silly sometimes too. Today there was a silly post and I was like waiting for the pushback on that. But yeah.
That's awesome. Any chance you guys are going to come down to California and ride here anytime soon as a family? I mean, I know you have a kid that races. So.
We've never been to California to ride. Maybe. I mean, like we have our big party tomorrow, and I've got some poster boards. I want people to put down ideas for, like, if we're going to do merch this year. I've got one poster for trip ideas. So we're going to see, we're going to see if somebody doesn't come up with a good idea for a trip. So you never know.
California. There's a lot of good racing in California, or riding, really. I mean, Sedona for me is like the Mecca. I just love, we just came back. We were there for 2 weeks. Talk about enduro when you're in Sedona with all the chunk. I love it. Have you been to Sedona?
I've not, but we've got 2 families on the team. Yeah. Who, actually 3 families who went and absolutely loved it. Actually, the one family, they spent the whole summer there, and he was able to work remote, and they rode like every single day, and they really loved it.
And there's this coach there who's absolutely amazing. So if you guys wanted to hook up with the Sedona Mountain Bike Academy,
I think they worked with them. Yeah. Yep.
That's so cool. What does the membership include? So say I had a kid and I was like, hey, we want to sign up. What does the membership include?
So you get a one race jersey, and then you get access to everything on our calendar from April to November. So it's every single weekend from April to November. We have either group rides or pre-rides or skills clinics or races. And some of that is with professional coaching.
Nice.
And then we get some really nice sponsorship discounts. The fellows at Worldwide Cyclery, they give us a nice discount. Yeah, they've been really good to us. And I'm also looking at like some swag bags. So you get some sweet merch and stuff at the end. And then they managed to secure a sponsorship with Maxxis tires. So most of the girls got at least one Maxxis tire for free. So like whatever I can secure. Oh, and we also got some vouchers to our local bike park, Blue Mountain.
Yeah.
So they sponsored us. So like I enjoy asking.
Yeah.
and a lot of companies are often wanting to help. The Worldwide Cyclery guys were amazing, because like I had no contact there whatsoever. Like nobody. There was no personal connection. There was nothing. And I had asked some local bike shops, if they want, and I thought it would be an easy yes. Like I thought, hey, we're putting together a girls enduro race team, and we'd like some local support. And it was just like, no, our sponsorship dollars are already gone. You know, like everybody had a reason why they didn't want to. And then I was like, I don't know, these guys seem rad. Like, here goes nothing. So I sent him an email with like, you know, a link to our website and the mission and
Yeah.
stuff. And they were like, absolutely, we're in. And like, and it's just,
Yes.
yeah, they've got, it's there. So that was an absolute delight. So
That's
there's
amazing.
people out there that want to help. You just kind of got to find them.
Yeah, 100%. I found the same thing, and my mission now includes helping you guys do what you need for your team. So I'm on board.
I want to find
I
somebody else in some other part of the country who wants to do the same kind of thing. And then we can just pow
Yes.
out and I can just be like, here's what we did. You know, here's what works. Here's what you got to watch out for. I'll tell you right now, you got to watch out for the dads because they can be more of a headache than they're worth. You know what I mean? Like, here's how you
Yeah.
handle them because they're definitely like, they're a necessary element. Like they need to get the girls to and from the trailheads. Like, sadly, I don't have yet. I'm the only mom who rides. I've got one who I'm working on. I'm hoping she'll ride next year. But like, you know, there's just a lot of things that I can say, like, you know, here's all the things you can do. You know, here's my contact for insurance. Here's my contact for jerseys. Here's, you know what I mean? Like, so there's like a lot of things you could do to kind of like.
I think I have someone on the West Coast that I can connect you with.
Yeah, because I would love to see this kind of thing like more common because I do feel like, I mean, there's plenty of girls, not plenty, but there's a few girls who race without the support of a team. And I think like, oh, good for them. Like, that's awesome. But I know for a fact that our girls are having more fun and they're more relaxed because like, it's just so much easier, you know, when you have a tent and when, you know, you're running late and you can call your teammate and be like, can you pick up my race plate? You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things that go into race day that if you've got a team with you, it's just so much easier and so much less stressful. So.
Yeah, I'm going to connect you with Danielle over the Bay Area Bike Project. Their mission is to get more kids on bikes too. So, and I think the two of you, even if she doesn't want to start a race, I think just connecting the two of you, you have such similar missions that it's going to be really great. So
Cool.
We'll talk offline. Thank you, Shelly, so much. I know we've been going on for a little while here. It's getting late for you over on the East Coast. I want to come out there next summer. Hopefully I can visit Becca and then we can get together and I can be like a cheerleader for them. I want to make pom-poms and all the things.
You come out here. I'm going to get you on the race. I'm going to get you between the tape. I actually haven't ridden with Becca yet. Becca's going to ride with us too at some point. But I think she's a pretty dedicated bike park.
Yeah, she is. She's a total downhill free ride, like bike park beast for sure. But I'm glad she's over there. That's another really good contact over there in the East Coast. Thank you again. Thank you for taking the time. I really enjoyed having you on. We could go on for hours talking about all of this. But next time, I do want to have you on again. But maybe next time we get some of the girls on as well.
Oh, for sure.
Get them to...
Yeah, I tried. They were like, you know, stage fright galore. No way, no how. But maybe if they listen to this, they'll be like, they'll probably get mad at me because like I misrepresented them somehow. And then I'll be like, okay, well now you go ahead and set me straight.
Yeah, let's have them on. If all of them want to come on, we'll do it live even. And we'll have people ask them questions as we're doing this.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, on YouTube Live. I'm going to start doing that. So that should be fun. All right. You're amazing. Thank you again. And have a great rest of your night. I know it's Friday. Hopefully your weekend is filled with some bikes, right?
Yeah.
Biking?
Totally. Yeah. Oh, you asked what one more thing. You asked what team membership. At the end of your party, we rented an airbag and a kicker. So
no, you did.
That alone is worth the price of admission.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yep, sign me up. I'm there.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing tomorrow.
Have a blast. I hope to see some photos on Instagram if you guys having a great time. All right. Thank you. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.